Hello and welcome to episode 415 of TODOOSE.
Are you sure it's not more?
The video series in which we talk about Seinfeld.
Yeah. I feel like we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. But look at that. We are doing well.
Yeah.
We promised
So
this
the
would
test
pass.
passed. Yeah, they did.
And it passed. Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't do everything right in terms of process.
When do we?
So there are a couple of things we did wrong. And this is the first one. We fixed this in the previous episode, and somehow it's still here, the try catches. We updated Javalin to get rid of this, and then it's back. What happened?
Looks like we just branched off the previous commit, never actually updated master from GitHub. So
yeah. So we merged the pull request. So this is us updating Javalin and merged back into master. But then in our local development machine here, I never pulled.
Exactly. We actually branched off the previous commit itself and never pulled.
I forgot to pull. So I created the Newman branch out of this previous commit, which is interesting because it shows that you can have multiple independent tasks going on at the same time.
And still not break projects. You don't need to let someone finish on a branch and merge to master before you start doing your work. You can do it simultaneously.
Yeah, as long as things are independent, it will work fine. If things depend on one another, if they touch the same files on the same lines, then it will still be fine, but you have to do some extra work to resolve conflicts.
Merge conflicts,
But in this case, I don't think there will be any conflicts because updating Javalin changed Gradle and our server Java file.
Not Travis file.
And this changed Travis file. So I think it will be good.
Most likely. Let's see, I think so.
So here we have a way to create a pull request from Newman to master, right?
Yes.
And let's create that pull request, and it will trigger a build.
We're still forgetting.
I think we're forgetting many things.
We've not made issues out of these, have we?
We have not. Let's get to that in a second. So this triggered a build. I will just merge. I won't even bother with the build because I know that this build has passed, so it should be fine.
The branch build is passed.
Okay. So I can delete this branch.
Pull.
And now this time I will do the right thing here in my. So you can see here in version control in the log that this is outdated.
Yeah.
This is from way back, like 2 days ago. What is that? And then we can go back to master, delete the Newman branch, delete tracked branch, whatever, and then pull. And that's what we forgot to do.
Most importantly,
And now it updated everything.
Yes.
In the log.
See, it's a very weird graph, but it merges well.
Yeah. So
it's still okay.
In theory, we could have started we could be even different people working on different features. Updating Javalin and adding Newman to the project are completely independent, and they could have been carried out independently.
Differently,
So that is the end of that for my local machine, and now the try catches are gone again.
Yes.
As they should.
That was the whole point of updating Javalin.
But we haven't done everything because we are using a project board to organize the development, and there isn't even a card here. So we were all excited. A new version of Javalin is out. Let's use it. Oh, yeah.
And forgot to add it.
And I forgot to add it here, and I forgot to create an issue. I forgot to assign the pull requests to the issues. So let's do all that. Backpatching the history. So even if you get excited and you do stuff, then
you can still do it properly.
Yeah, you can still come here later and organize everything so you can have a clear picture of
what actually happened.
So housekeeping.
Of housekeeping.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing the housekeeping of housekeeping. Can I move this guy? Yes. And is there a way to like create two items here? I suppose so. Let's see. So we did three things.
Convert it to issue, and then it will create those items if you have them in the issue. Then that's what we did the last time.
Maybe. Yeah, so we can try that. So let's convert this into an issue. And I know this issue has already been solved. But
Nonetheless.
So we only deploy to Heroku when Travis CI has passed. That's the first thing we did last episode, and it's already done. So I'm marking this as done already. Then
we have update Javalin.
Update Javalin.
And remove try catch, which is entailed anyways.
Oh, yes, fair. And then we remove try catch. And there is one last thing we did, which is to add Newman to Travis CI.
Yeah.
That's already done as well. So convert this into an issue with this list of items that is already, well, they are all completed. So let's go to the housekeeping issue.
Yep.
And it's all good.
You can reference pull requests from here.
Yeah, we have 2 pull requests related to this because changing the configuration in Heroku didn't actually require a pull request. But we have these 2 pull requests here that were related to that issue. So I can come to them and say that they close as 14.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And this one as well closes 14.
Yes.
So now coming back to the housekeeping issue.
See, it was referenced.
Yeah. And for some reason, it didn't automatically close this guy, so I can close the issue here manually and whatever. Now, everything is in sync. So we can come to the board, and we can see that the housekeeping is done. And I can come to the housekeeping task and see what were the code changes related to this.
That actually fixed it, yeah.
So now we are all organized.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready to move on to the next task?
Yeah.
So mark items as done. Let's convert this into an issue. What do we have to do here?
So we need a new button or some functionality to say that this task was done. Some swipe feature or anything, like whatever you...
So coming back here to our UI sketch, marking an item is done. There is this checkbox. We click on it, the item is done. That's what we are going to do. So we need this new button on the interface. Also, I suppose that we need some API endpoint for deleting or for marking items as done.
Then we need a database update.
Yeah, so we need to...
Which is in the API endpoint itself, but...
Yeah, this is like in Postman, I suppose. Oh, and also let's add tests.
Yes, please. I think that can be a separate task.
Fair. So we can...
I would not want to say
add Postman tests. Add the endpoint, the API endpoint to the server. And
are we missing anything? I think that's all.
That's it.
We covered the UI, we covered the backend, we covered the database, we covered tests. Is there anything else?
I think we're good. We'll figure things out.
We can always add stuff to this.
In which order do you want to do this?
I think new button is the easiest.
Fair.
Then we can go to Postman. Not the tests, just marking, like checking specifications, because we'll do API design before we actually do what the server does.
Okay. So yeah, let's convert this into an issue and then we can start working on it.
Oh, I know what. So can you go to that issue? And yeah, I know what to change actually. I just realized. Edit. So new button will have 2 things. One, we have to add the actual button in the UI. And the second, you have to add JavaScript code for it, like to function, right?
Yeah.
Button. So here, for this part of it, you will need the API specification from Postman already.
Yeah.
So let's do Postman first.
Fair. I kind of like doing Postman first. It depends, really. Sometimes you don't know exactly what the feature is going to look like, and you don't know exactly what API endpoints you need for that. So it's good to start with the front end. I like to start with the front end in those cases. Sometimes you have a very clear idea of what the feature looks like. In this case, we do. So it's fair to start with the API endpoint, also because it allows different people to be working on the front end and on the back end
exactly,
independently,
yeah.
which is kind of nice.
Which is the whole point of collaborating.
Yeah, so I assigned myself to the
Okay.
issue. I also assign you. Why not?
Yeah.
We are working.
Not that I'm writing code.
Well, we are writing code here together.
Yeah.
So let's start with Postman.
Yeah.
All right. So here in Postman, we have currently 2 requests.
So we
can
need a new one.
Create a new one. How do we do that? I don't even know. So I can save this request is mark
items as done.
item as done, and add a collection TODOOSE. And this will not be a post, a get. This will be a delete.
Yep.
Well, delete because we are removing the item in the server. And the URL is going to look similar to this. So I'm copying from this. But I think that
that is not, that will not suffice.
We also need to say what is the identifier. Yep. We don't have an identifier, so I'll just put the number 7 here.
Okay.
And
we have something numbered 7, right?
Well, yeah, let's look at the items that we currently have. So I can send this request and look at the, the server's not running. Run the server, wait for the server to spin up. Server is running. Go to Postman and send the request. And yeah, we have an item here, number 7.
We'll have to change the numbers in the delete request as we're testing them because it will go away.
Fair, yeah, and that's something we need to think about. Also, we need to think about what the response code will be.
Yes.
So let's add an example of this. So a successful request will be deleting, for instance, the number 7. We don't need anything as arguments.
That's what I was thinking. Do you want to pass the identifier in the body?
No.
Okay.
I want to pass it in the URL.
Yeah.
That's more or less a convention that people use. You have the collection of items and then the identifier for the particular item that you are deleting. So it's more or less a convention that I want to follow.
I didn't know that particularly. Because I always thought that putting stuff in the URL was bad.
It depends on what you're putting in the URL. If you're putting the identifier for the resource, then it's okay.
Yeah. And anyways, normally it would be some hashed value, not 7.
Yeah, it depends. If you have something like next, we have on the list here, let's go to the board real quick. The next thing we have is to edit items, and putting the description of the item in the URL would be a bad idea.
Yeah, okay, fair.
But we'll see that in the future. So what do we expect to see? I think I expect to see something in the 200s because I expect this to work.
Exactly.
But I don't think we need any content, so I think 204 would be fine.
Yeah.
And I'll save this example. Of course, if I try to really run this, it will say not found, because in Javalin, we have not said what should happen.
Yep.
But that comes later. So now we have an idea of what this should do.
Yep.
We have a specification. We don't have tests yet. And we don't really need to write a test, but I think I will write just one quick test to test that the status is 204.
Okay.
And this will fail, and we'll have something to work with in the near future. So now this will say that one test is failing because it expected a 204 and got a 404.
Yeah, fair.
So for now, that's it.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the front end. So it's in main resources public index. And we want to add that button. Let me open Chrome.
Again.
And go to localhost 7000. So I want to have a checkbox right here. So here where we are rendering the items, I could say input type checkbox. And I don't really need any values or anything. I think this will be enough. So let's restart the server and see.
To begin with, it should be fine.
What it looks like. All right, so we have checkboxes right here. They don't do anything, but they're there. So I can come here and say that we have done this.
Yes.
We have a new button.
Yes.
Now let's add some JavaScript for the button to do something.
Yeah.
Well, we can say on
click
On click, on change, I suppose is better.
Yeah, here, right.
And on change, I want to run a function. Oh, I don't need the double quotes because this is going to be directly JavaScript. And what I want to do is to fetch an URL that is going to look like items slash and then the item identifier. And I want to do this with the method delete. This line is long.
It is complicated.
Okay, so we are mapping over the items that are coming from the server. That's what this line starts with.
Okay, let us break it down this way. What is HTML and what is JavaScript?
Yes,
What
perfect.
changes where?
Let's go through this in steps and break things apart. So we are getting the data from the server, right? We are doing that using a GET request right here. And we have the list of code. That is JavaScript.
Yes.
And then we are mapping over that list.
Yes.
Then we are creating a list item.
Okay.
And this is HTML, right?
No.
Yes. This
key
is
equal to item identifier.
Sorry?
This part, the key equal to braces item identifier.
So this is JavaScript,
yes.
but this is HTML.
Yes, that is fair.
So now we create this HTML, and let me put everything here in one line. And I suppose it's better if it looks like this.
Yes.
How do you like it?
No. Yeah.
Better?
Yes.
All right. So now we create this list item in HTML. Yes. Then we go to still HTML. We create this input.
And inside the on change, you change to JavaScript first.
Yes. So hang on. So this part is JavaScript.
Yes.
It's getting the description from the item.
Yeah.
Then I am writing some HTML here. I am adding an input, the checkbox. And here on the on change, I am going back, because of the braces, I'm going back to JavaScript.
Yes.
I'm defining this function.
This is a JavaScript function.
And the body of this function is this part.
Yes.
Which is saying fetch. Fetch is making a request to the server. This is the URL that I'm fetching.
I have a question here.
Yes.
Why the different quotes here?
So this backtick is a string in JavaScript that I can interpolate variables into. So I could do this similarly with /items /plus item identifier, okay?
Fair.
But I think this is better.
Cleaner, yeah, this is cleaner.
So I can just write dollar and then the braces, and that brings me back into JavaScript from within a JavaScript string, not from within HTML, as is the case here.
JavaScript, yeah.
So now I can write item identifier,
okay,
which is again the same as here.
Yes.
It's just the identifier, and I can say which method I want to use.
All of this being JavaScript.
All of this being JavaScript.
And then the tag closes, which is HTML again.
Yeah, so this comes back to HTML. So this closes the on change.
Yeah.
So this closes the JavaScript part, and this closes the HTML.
Input. Okay.
And with that, I can save, restart the server, and
see how it works.
I can. It won't really work per se, but I can see that it will try to perform the request. Oh, it's going to be buried in hundreds of GET requests. But we can see here
that is the one.
That it's trying to perform a delete on items number 2. So yeah, that's all we need.
Yes.
We are going fast now. So we have to add the API endpoint to the server. Well, that's easy too. Let's go back to the server and we say that we have a new API endpoint that is app delete on items identifier. This is
notation, right?
This is something new that we haven't seen before. So let's go to the Javalin documentation to see how it works. Handler groups, validation, I think that maybe some example.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. So here's an example of how these path parameters work. I can say column and then the name of a parameter.
That will be taken from the URL path itself.
It will be taken from the URL.
Okay.
And then with context path param, we can fetch that parameter from the URL. So here
can you show me what a demo URL here will be?
So in this case, a demo would be /hello/ Yash.
Okay, fair.
That, and then context param get name. This guy would be Yash.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the identifier that we are getting, and then we say context and a block of code, and here we can say context path param.
Yes, that's what you want. Identifier.
With identifier. And then we have...
You need to assign this to something though.
Yeah, we need to do something with this.
Yes.
And what we want to do is to execute a query to the database to delete something. So here we have this code to delete something, and we say delete from items where identifier equals pluses here. Because in Java there is no string interpolation, so I cannot use the backticks and that notation. Yeah, that notation doesn't exist in Java, so I have to do it this way. I suppose we don't need this part.
I don't think so.
And
do you need a... Yeah, I think that should be it.
This may be all we need for now. I'm like 80% sure that this will work. Let's see. Let's see if this even compiles and runs. Coming back to the browser, I'll close this and click here, and it's deleting. It's working. The items are going away. The list is getting shorter.
Okay.
Now, there is a huge problem here, because if the identifier turns out to be some SQL thing,
meaning
you can say, instead of /items/identifier, I can come here to Postman, and I can say /items/ the number 7 semicolon delete from
so SQL injection
items. Yeah, you can write things like this, and it will try to interpret this as SQL. So we want to make sure that this is
safe.
A number.
It's safe.
Yeah, and I think that this does the trick. Integer class. I suppose this does the trick. I think that this forces the parameter to be a number.
Do you want to check separately and then do it? In the sense that just put it a line above, check the print statement, and be done.
Yeah, I could do that, but I think there is some other way to make this even safer. So I think that there is a statement prepare something, or I don't even remember. Oh, maybe it's with the connection prepare statement. Oh, right. And I definitely don't want to. I don't remember how we use this, but I suppose it's something like this. And this gets us a statement with some holes in it. So the question mark is a hole.
Okay.
It's a placeholder. We are creating a statement in which we expect to see some parameter here. And then we can say statement dot, I don't remember. Set something maybe. Let's go to the documentation for JDBC SQLite. That's what we are using, exactly this one, and see if they have an example somewhere around here. Prepare, fix a bug in prepared statements. Yeah, I want to learn more about prepared statements, if you will, please. No, everything in here is hard-coded.
Normal, yeah. You can go to issue 74.
JDBC prepared statement example.
Yeah, that looks like what you want.
Set string. Okay. And then we say the position. So we say set int, and then we say the position. This is the first question mark. And then we say what we want, that is this. And then we execute this statement. Is this how you do it? Set execute update, I suppose. Execute update.
Yeah.
And close.
Yeah.
And this, oh, we expect it to be an integer because I said set int. So now we have to say the trick integer class. Is this going to do it? Apparently not. So let's use integer parse int.
Please. I see you remember your mistake.
And I believe this works the same, but it's now safer with respect to SQL injection or with respect to people trying to be smart this way, right? So now we can delete this, don't save.
Just try.
Just rerun the server. And rerun the client. And this is still working. So this is the right way to do a SQL query that contains some user input.
Yes.
Which is the case right here. So I think that's it for now. We will commit and push and create a pull request and close and blah, blah, blah off camera. Yeah. People know how to do this already.
Yes, yeah, we've done it enough times.
But we have done the API endpoint and everything. It would be nice to have some extra Postman tests.
Maybe, yeah.
So yeah, maybe we do that next.
Okay. All right.
All right. See you on the next one.